The real reason elite athletes are dying. Cardiac screening exposed as theater, autopsy data. Cold open 73%. That is the number that should terrify every athlete, every parent, and every coach watching this right now. 73% of fatal heart conditions in athletes are missed by standard cardiac screening. We are not talking about some fringe study. We are talking about autopsy data. We are talking about dead athletes who passed every physical, every EKG, every stress test their league threw at them. And here is the part that will make your blood boil. The leagues know. The team owners know. The insurance actuaries have run the numbers and decided that lawsuit settlements are cheaper than actually screening athletes properly. They have done the math on human lives, and they chose the spreadsheet. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is documented. This is exposed. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why the fittest people on Earth are dropping dead on fields, courts, and tracks while billion-dollar organizations pretend their screening protocols work. Welcome back to the Real Bio Protocol. Today we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most disturbing cover-ups in professional sports. You're going to learn why elite athletes in peak physical condition are dying from cardiac events at rates that defy logic, why the screening tests they undergo are essentially medical theater, and what the autopsy data reveals about the conditions their doctors completely missed. If you are an athlete, a parent of an athlete, or someone who cares about the integrity of sports medicine, this video is mandatory viewing. ACT1. The problem here is what mainstream sports medicine tells us. Every professional athlete undergoes rigorous cardiac screening. They get EKGs, they get stress tests, they see team physicians who monitor their heart health throughout the season. We are told these athletes are the most examined humans on the planet. Their bodies are investment properties worth millions. So why are young, healthy, elite-level athletes collapsing during games and practices at alarming rates? The sports establishment wants you to believe these are rare, unpredictable tragedies, random acts of biological misfortune that no amount of screening could prevent. They call it sudden cardiac death like it is some kind of mysterious force beyond medical understanding. But that narrative is falling apart. Let us look at the numbers. They do not want trending. Studies published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that standard pre-participation screening missed the majority of athletes who later died from cardiac events. These athletes had passed their screenings. They had been cleared to compete, and then they died. The most common killers are conditions like hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, and anomalous coronary arteries. These are not exotic diseases. They are well-documented conditions with established detection methods. But those methods cost money, real money. And here is where the economics get ugly. A comprehensive cardiac screening with echocardiogram and cardiac MRI can cost between $500 and $3,000 per athlete. Multiply that by thousands of professional and collegiate athletes, and suddenly the price tag makes accountants nervous. So what happens? They substitute cheaper tests. They use EKGs that miss structural heart abnormalities. They conduct brief physical exams that check boxes but miss killers. The screening becomes a liability shield instead of a diagnostic tool. ACT2, the hidden truth. The autopsy data tells a story that press releases never will. When researchers examined deceased athletes who had passed pre-participation cardiac screening, they found that the vast majority had detectable abnormalities. Detectable. That word should haunt every sports medicine director in the country. A landmark study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology analyzed autopsy findings in young competitive athletes who died suddenly. The results were damning. Most had structural heart disease that could have been identified with proper imaging. Not experimental imaging, not cutting-edge technology, standard echocardiography that has existed for decades. So why did they miss it? Because the screening protocols were never designed to find it. They were designed to check boxes. They were designed to provide legal cover. They were designed to make parents feel safe while keeping costs manageable. Here's what the insurance companies understand that you do not. The cost of settling wrongful death lawsuits, even several per year, is significantly lower than implementing comprehensive cardiac screening for all athletes. They have actuaries who calculate these things. Human lives reduced to risk equations. And the equation says let some of them die. This is not speculation. This is the logical conclusion of documented screening inadequacy combined with documented knowledge of that inadequacy. When you know your tests miss most fatal conditions, and you continue using those tests anyway, you have made a choice. That choice prioritizes budget over lives. ACT3, the mechanism. Let us understand what is actually happening in these athletes' hearts. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is the most common cause of sudden cardiac death in young athletes. It involves abnormal thickening of the heart muscle, particularly the septum between the ventricles. This thickening can obstruct blood flow and disrupt the heart's electrical system. During intense exercise, the heart demands more oxygen and pumps harder. In a heart with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, this stress can trigger fatal arrhythmias. The heart's electrical signals go haywire. Instead of coordinated pumping, you get chaotic quivering. Blood stops flowing to the brain. The athlete collapses. An EKG might show some abnormalities associated with this condition. But an EKG only captures electrical activity. It cannot see the physical structure of the heart. It cannot measure wall thickness. It cannot identify abnormal muscle fiber patterns. You need imaging for that. You need echocardiography. Ideally, you need cardiac MRI. Arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy is even sneakier. The heart muscle, particularly in the right ventricle, gets replaced by fatty and fibrous tissue. This creates electrical instability. The condition often has minimal EKG changes in early stages. It requires specialized imaging to detect. Coronary artery anomalies are another hidden killer. Some people are born with coronary arteries that take abnormal paths around the heart. During exercise, these vessels can get compressed, cutting off blood supply to heart muscle. This causes sudden death without warning. You cannot find these with an EKG. You need angiography or CT imaging. The biology is clear. The diagnostic technology exists. The conditions are identifiable. The only missing ingredient is the will to actually screen for them. ACT4 real-world application. If you are an athlete or the parent of an athlete, here is what you need to do. Do not rely on standard sports physicals. Those 12-minute appointments where a doctor listens to your heart for 30 seconds and signs a form are not protecting you. Request an echocardiogram. This is an ultrasound of the heart that can identify structural abnormalities like wall thickening, valve problems, and chamber enlargement. It should be baseline testing for any competitive athlete. Know your family history. If anyone in your family died suddenly before age 50, especially during physical activity, you need comprehensive cardiac workup, including genetic testing for inherited conditions. Learn the warning signs. Unexplained fainting during exercise is not just dehydration. Chest pain that comes with exertion is not just a muscle strain. Heart racing that feels irregular is not just anxiety. These symptoms demand investigation, not dismissal. Consider out-of-pocket screening if your organization will not provide it. Several $100s for an echocardiogram is cheaper than a funeral. That sounds harsh, but it is reality. Push your leagues and organizations. Demand transparency about screening protocols. Ask what conditions their tests can and cannot detect. Make them answer. ACT5, the bigger picture. We have created a sports industrial complex that treats athletes as replaceable assets. When screening protocols fail and athletes die, there is always another prospect, another draft pick, another scholarship athlete ready to take their place. The organizations profiting from athletic performance have accepted a certain casualty rate. They have calculated that death is manageable, that lawsuits are settlable, that the machine keeps running. But these are human beings with families who trusted the system to protect them. They submitted to every physical, every test, every examination their teams required. They believed the white coats and the signed clearances meant something. The science exists to save these lives. The technology is not experimental. The conditions are not mysterious. The only thing standing between preventable death and comprehensive screening is money, and the decisions of people who will never have to explain to a mother why her son collapsed on a basketball court with a detectable heart condition. This should make you angry. This should make you demand better. Because if the people running professional sports will not protect athletes, then athletes and their families must protect themselves. The science is out there, and now you have it. That is why we are here. This is the Real Bio Protocol. If you got value from this video, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe. It is completely free and it takes 2 seconds. We drop new content every single day, so hit that notification bell. See you in the next one. If you enjoyed this upload, do not forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing is completely free. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Tune in again for the next upload. This has been the Real Bio Protocol.